So one of the great things about this property is there always seems to be something more to do. You know, you get the strimmer out and you decide you're just going to clean a small area just to see what the terrain is like, and that leads on to another job and another and another. And of course, it's knowing when to stop. I'm not ready to stop yet. You can see I've got that area cleared here, but I've got a tree down here that's down into the stream, which I don't like. It's pretty much causing some disruption in the water flow. It's gathering lots of debris. It looks wrong. It's got to go. So I'm going to get the equipment out in order to remove this, which kind of means me getting in that stream. And I'm not looking forward to that. It's cold today, and I don't like the cold. Anyway, I'm sure I'll get acclimatized. I'll get the waders on, get the chainsaw out, and get rid of that tree. And while I'm at it, I'm going to work downstream over here, about 20 meters away. There's another tree, a much larger tree, died before I bought the property, fell down across the stream. It's kind of bridged the stream, not dropped into it yet, but it's going to. So I'm going to get across there, get the chainsaw onto that tree, and try and remove it. Let's go and take a look at that so you can see how that could turn into a bigger job. So here's the stream, and there you can see the tree that I'm referring to. Not sure what species it is yet. It's got a nice straight trunk, maybe 250 mil diameter, 10 inches or thereabouts. Might be nice to try and save that for a project. So I will get down and remove the smaller branches first before I decide how I can remove the trunk. You can see it's actually down here. I don't know if it's snapped off or whether it's just keeled over and taken its roots with it. So I'm not sure how to get that trunk out yet. I've also got to remove this fence you can see in front. This would have been a sheep fence from back when there were sheep on the property. It's in the way. I'm going to get rid of it. I don't need it. So equipment we're going to need today. We're going to need a chainsaw, of course, a battery operated chainsaw, nice and quiet, really small, easy to handle, can work one-handed if I need to, which will be great because I'm working in the cold stream. What else am I going to need? I'll need the ATV with the winch on the front so I can remove this quite large trunk. Not quite sure how I'm going to pull it through yet because it is moving it up bank. We'll get to that later. All right, and I'm going to need the waders. I'm going to get cold. I am not getting wet. Okay. So, making some progress. Good news and bad news. I did manage to remove quite a large weed which was in front of the tree. You can still see the tree right there that I'm trying to remove. It took quite a bit longer than expected. It turned into be quite the forensic removal because of a native fern you can sort of see around this area here, which I want to retain, I want to keep. I'm really trying to regenerate this riparian area. The bad news, whilst I was in the water, becoming acclimatized, doing the job, the chainsaw decided to join me. It's an electric chainsaw, or at least it was. Now, it does change the plan for the day. I think it's time to pack away, take the chainsaw to the workshop, strip it down, dry it out, and try and save it. Try and resurrect it. I'm pretty sure the battery's dead in the water, quite literally. But I'm going to try and save the chainsaw. I don't mind too much having to buy a new battery. Sure, they're expensive, but not as expensive as buying a brand new chainsaw, especially when it's not mine. So, to the workshop and let's see if I can fix that.
Yesterday, there was sun and there was rain. Beauty.
Back onto the job today. Now that job of course is clearing the weeds and the fallen trees from the riparian area of the stream. We're just down in the shipping container loading up the tools we need in order to get the job done. And you may remember towards the end of the last attempt at this job, I did the unthinkable and I dropped the electric chainsaw into the stream. Of course, I rushed it to the container down here, took it apart and attempted some resuscitation. I drained all the water out, and boy, there was a lot of water inside that case. Drained all the water out, dried it a little bit, dabbing with a cloth, but then really just hit it with the WD-40 just to expel all of that moisture that may have accumulated around the electronics, around the motor, just in the hopes that it would disperse all of that moisture and ultimately resurrect itself. And I'm really pleased to say it worked. It's remarkable. Take a look at this. Here is the chainsaw. I've got a battery here at half charged. In fact, I'll just pop that back in. Don't like to store it with the battery in place. But look at this. It actually works beautifully. I've done a little bit of testing with it and no problems whatsoever. No long-lasting problems. All credit to Still. Those electronics went into shutdown mode, protected themselves, and it still works. Remarkable. Right, suited and booted, it's time to get in that freezing cold drink and see if I can drop the chainsaw again. Oh, you have no idea how difficult that is. Trying to balance on slippy rocks with slippy shoes. I can't balance on flat ground, let alone in water. But nevertheless, I'm going to leave it there. The main trunk of that tree that's grown into the stream is still present, as you can see. But I'm mindful that it's actually creating a barrier, an erosion barrier. A lot of the water flow is coming this side of that branch, that trunk, and you can actually see and feel under the stream, the riverbed is far deeper, maybe another 10 inches, 250 mil deeper, this side of that trunk. On the opposite side, the water is now flowing. It wasn't previously. It's kind of stagnating somewhat. So the water is now flowing, but at a much lower pace than the main stream. And so again, that will just protect the bank from further erosion. Now, it's not something I'm actually concerned about. This is a rock face, it's not soil, generally. So the erosion would be incredibly slow. Not something certainly I would be concerned about in my lifetime. There you go, look, there it is growing out of the rock face. Beautiful looking rock, nice bit of moss on there. Okay, and there it is growing into the water. There's the fern that we were managed to save, native. And if you look on the opposite side here, you might be able to tell in the water there, it's flowing quite fast towards me and much shallower over the opposite side. For now, I'm going to leave this area alone. I'm going to get back onto this side over here where there's a fallen tree that I really want to remove. It's very unsightly. I want to start clearing up at that end now. The plan. The tree has fallen across the stream. It's not in the stream, but it's dangerously close. Now, it's obviously fallen from the other side of this fence here. This fence, I think, was put here many years ago as a sheep barrier to prevent the sheep who are grazing this land from actually getting at this vegetation. It's well overgrown. There's gorse in there. It needs sorting out. I think the first job I have to do is remove these waratahs, remove this fence, so I can actually get in there. And then maybe, if it's my lucky day, it won't be, I can chain up the tree and use the winch to yank it up to the top here to chop off. It's got to be worth a shot. Otherwise, I'm in the stream and I'm cutting branches above my head, which is precarious to say the least. So let's get this fence cut and see if I can free up this trunk. You know, wearing waders whilst you're dealing with the sharp edge of fencing is not sensible. If I pierce these, they're useless. I think I should get changed, get my boots back on, and more importantly, get the crampons back on. There's the tree I'm trying to get to. I don't have to go all the way up here. You know, why finish the job? So we've moved the fence. I think it's time to get Rambos in position, you know, the 1.5 and attempt to chain up that trunk and pull it out. Right, get the wheels off the water pipe. What's the worst that can happen? Tree digs in, pulls the quad down bank. Likely to happen? Absolutely. You don't know till you try. All right, let's knock the winch out of neutral and let's see what happens. Okay, it's just pulling the quad down bank. So it's pulled the quad a good 16 inches, 450 mil, half a metre ish, and we're right on that Waratah now. There you go. There are so many branches coming off this that they're spiking into the ground. There's only one way: get in with the chainsaw and take all of those small branches off that are causing it to lock against the bank of the stream. I'll get the gnarly bit of stump out of my way. There it is. Quite a nice one, this. It's got a bit of moss on it. I think I'll put this somewhere insects can begin living in it. What am I talking about? It's been dead for a while. If they were going to live in it, they'd be in it already. Go over here, out of the way. Right, 40 minutes later. Not wasted, sleeping on a bench. 2 batteries fully charged, ready to take these smaller branches off. Take all the lower branches off, try the quad again. I think we'll be able to pull it straight out. See if we can get some movement. Okay, she's moving. I'm mindful I don't want the winch line to get too close to that Waratah. And the winch line is on the Waratah. So let's just fix that. Don't want any rubbish. The winch is finally paying for itself. Let's get this segmented up so we can pull it out of the way. Right, let's take a look down here and just see what's remaining. One more big branch here. I can strim in here. None of this is native. It's just weed, most of it dead, bit of gorse. I take all that out and, well, it'll look nicer. And I can start thinking about potentially planting in the future.
Beauty in the mundane. As the light startled our eyes, we let go of disguise.
Right, I'm happy with that, and we're going to leave that for now. Until next time the strimmer's out to get rid of this remaining debris. Nice to be able to see the watering hole. We'll see how that clears up over the coming weeks. Well, I think that's relatively a successful day. Got most of that tree removed from down here. Got the dead tree removed from here and started to open up this space. The idea is to get this a little bit more wildlife friendly and human friendly. But that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.